friends. I'm Lil Saprinit. Welcome to the podcast today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I'm going to talk about another couple of types of friends. So we're in the midst of a friendship series and I'm delving into all things making friends, types of friends, thoughts about friends, because I believe that friendship is one of the most meaningful parts of my life and the lives of many others. So today I want to talk about, the main thing I want to talk about is cyber friends. I don't actually call my online friends cyber friends, but I thought it sounded a little bit slightly sinister or perhaps naughty. And I love a little inside joke. So anyway, cyber friends. One of the ways that people make friends these days, just like dating, is on the internet. And I want to invite you today to open yourself up to making real friends on the internet. So many of you listening are physicians. This podcast is about being more than just a doctor, so lots of doctors. And one of the amazing places to make friends now is on the internet. And I want to tell you how and why and talk about the cyber friendship sandwich, which I have just coined that term. So you're welcome. But there are many, many communities now online. I particularly know about Facebook because I'm of the generation that Facebook, like literally, it's just the age that people are on Facebook. So there are probably lots of communities elsewhere, but I'm going to talk about Facebook communities because that's what I know the best. But there are many physician-specific Facebook communities, and this is a great place to make actual real friends. I know lots of you may know a little bit about Facebook communities or may be in Facebook communities, but lurking, and that's fine. But to me, if we do most of our time online just consuming and lurking, I feel sort of drained when I do that. But I want to offer to you that it's actually a great place to make real friends. So the way to do that is to join groups and see if it's your people. And the great thing about joining a Facebook group is you can always unjoin, and you can always join and never look. Like there's no commitment, there's no obligation, but there are groups for physicians on Peloton. There are physician finance groups, a multitude. A client told me a few weeks ago, there is like a physicians who like fancy purses group. I mean, it's hard to get more specific than that. And there are physician moms of kids with ADHD groups. I'm in that group. I have a kid with ADHD, and it's an amazing resource. But it's an also amazing place to connect with people who really get your specific situation. And then of these big groups, a lot of times there'll be subgroups that are in your town. So I'm a member of Physician Moms group on Facebook, which is over 100,000 women. And I'll just be honest, like that big group is too big for me. There's amazing stuff in there, but if I read it too much, I find that I actually get it's like too much emotion for me. Like it's not that I don't care, it's actually I care too much. So that one I don't look at a ton, but I'm in the subgroup for women physicians from my hometown. And that's a great, like small, manageable group. I know some of those women in person. And that's a resource. People are like, hey, I have tickets to this concert, but we can't go. Does anybody want them? Or, who's the best orthodontist in town? It's a really great resource. But these places are also places to make real friends. And so, how do you go about making friends? So, there's a couple ways. I always am going to mention this in all my making friends method. I'm going to tell you that you can always just cut to the chase and say, hey, you look like we should be friends. Because I've done this in person, I've done it online. But that's just the most direct route. If you see someone who's like your dream purse, Peloton, mother with a sense of humor, and you think like this person is my person, they get me. Like really, you can just DM them in the pure stalker fashion. And say, hey, I think we ought to be friends. I did this with a friend who we haven't really converted yet to real in-person friends, but we will. And she's like, what makes you think that? And so I told her, like the same books, sense of humor, all that kind of stuff. But the more indirect route, and I'd say probably the most common route, is you find your couple of places, don't spread yourself too thin. You find your groups where you like really feel like these are my people, this is my thing of interest. And you do lurk there. So you read the post, you kind of get to know the people who post vicariously, and you comment on their posts if you have something to say. We start conversations online. These are real conversations with real people. I love these physician spaces. The conversations are so smart. People are doing such interesting stuff. And you will, back and forth, they will get to know you. And then you also would probably want to offer some value, posting yourself, or like I said, commenting on posts, and you sort of start relationships that way. And then you can, just like dating, then if you have something to say to someone that maybe you don't want to say in the whole big group, or you really just want to talk to a single person, then you would DM that person. And I know this, like, even when I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, this sounds sort of weird and spammy, but I promise you it's not. And people want to be friends. People want to be connected to like-minded individuals. So I just want to this is a concept in this whole friendship series that I'm repeating over and over. People want to be friends. They want to be friends with you. Your people are out there. So sending someone the DM, a comment on their post. I saw someone had sent, I followed her stuff and for a while. And again, this is someone I've not converted yet to a real life friend, but there's that potential. But she commented, she had a post something so funny and so like me about sexy orthopedic shoes. And I just like couldn't help myself. I had to send her a DM, and I, sent her maybe an advertisement for a pair of shoes that I had considered possibly met the criteria. But this is the way you do it. And again, another theme from all these friendship podcasts is that it's up to you. If you want more friends, if you want that expansion in your life, you've got to put yourself out there. And so the person may think you're a spammy and creep and may not write back. Typically, if you're in context, like that's not going to happen, but you just have to be willing to look foolish, willing to sort of feel that slightest bit of exposure. But that is the route to the things that we want in life. So you DM the person when there's something that you want to chat about, like off of the main group, and then you back and forth. And then if you would like, then you either get that person's email or text message, and you like convert to a more regular friend. And then here I'm going to talk about the cyber sandwich. So cyber sandwiches, online friendship, like you've cultivated this with someone in this space, and this may take a while. I mean, there's no hurry here. There's millions of people on the internet. There's hundreds of thousands of doctors on the internet who want to be friends. They want to be engaged. So this is really a fun space to be. But the sandwich is like then you take the relationship, you meet in person. So I have one of my like really who I consider a close and dear friend. We met on the internet through a women's coaching program, and we um, met on Zoom. And so that's the next part. Like you would typically want to chat on the phone if that's your thing. I love Zoom. I love to see people. I feel like Zoom is super close to in person. It's not quite, but it's the nearest thing you can get without being there. So um, schedule a Zoom, chat on Zoom. And then if you really want to hang out with somebody, you get together. If they're in your town, like it's super easy. That's obvious. But you can take a trip to hang out with an online friend. Like, so my friend, who we were cyber friends, spent a lot of time together over Zoom. And then we did a girls' weekend together, incredibly fun. And then, so that's the meat of the sandwich, like being in person if you can. And then the other side of the sandwich is, and then you stay connected via the internet again. So texting, I love to schedule Zoom calls with friends. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But then you continue the friendship that way. Super enriching, super great way to strengthen the network, the fabric of your life. So where are some places to meet online friends? So I already mentioned it. My favorite place and my definitely most recommendation is physician groups or specialty interest groups. It doesn't have to be physicians, but in this episode, I'm really thinking of my physician friends that I've met online who are now real life friends. But, the Facebook special interest groups are such a great place to meet friends. Other places would be online physician coaching groups. That's a super fast track to meeting people and connecting on a really deep level. So I want to mention too that I know in particular, Empowering Women Physicians is a big coaching group that my friend Sunny Smith runs. I coach in there. And I want to mention this in particular because hundreds of women physicians have come through this program, but made really deep friendships there. And so I feel like it deserves a special mention. And I think the why that place is so magic is you meet people when they're getting coached on a big group call. So you really see people's deepest thoughts like really quickly. And then, of course, there's a Facebook group. So you get to know people that way. And those are the same people. And then there's also a small group component where you get to meet 8 or 10 other women physicians, and you really get to know those people. So through those combination of factors, it's like supercharged place to really meet people who get you if that's your sort of space. So if you're thinking about expanding your life coaching program, I want to offer that you also think about it as a place to make real friends. And another one I work with is Jimmy Turner in his Alpha coaching program. And it's the same, it's a similar setup, not quite as involved anymore with the small groups, but it's another space where people who are coming and they're opening up and you get to know them from discussions. Like right now they're doing a discussion on his book. And so you're talking to people face to face with the assumption that you're interested in the same thing. So that's a fast track to make sort of deep and lasting connections. So those are like big, fast, I don't want to say easy, but those are like low hanging fruit ways to be connected with people who may really get you. And then there's this whole world of other spaces. So I mentioned Facebook, And there's all these subgroups. I mean, fancy purses. And then the woman who told me that said the fancy purse group her town is big enough that there are enough of them that they started going to lunch. And these women, the like fancy purse subgroup town, I don't know if they were a Facebook group, but it's like subset, like became real life in-person friends, like some of her closest friends in the world. And I just think that's a miracle of the modern age. Peloton is another place to make friends. I don't Peloton, but I have a good friend I have actually multiple good friends who Peloton. But I have a good friend who some of her really great real life friends now are from the Peloton physician community. And I think there's a whole bunch of them. So that's actually a really good way. And my friend has done the sandwich method. So online Peloton physician friends, real life girls weekend, events together. And then the other side of the sandwich, back to online, continuing to strengthen those connections. So the Peloton cyber sandwich, another great way to enrich your life, have those deep connections. I bet there's a bunch of other ways to meet real friends online. And I would love to hear back from you guys. I know people are on Reddit and Twitter, and I don't know if people make friends on Instagram. But anyway, I would love to hear back from you guys, ways that you've made friends from the internet, especially if they're different than I've mentioned. Because the more things we know about, the more things maybe I could try or I could share with you all. I love that sense of connection. And one last little aside I want to talk about, since we're talking about cyber friends today, I want to talk about the use of the cyber. I'm kidding, but the use of technology and the internet to very purposefully maintain old friends. So one of the things I do in my goal setting every year is I intentionally think about the people in my life, and I'm blessed to have many friends over the course of my almost 50 years that, and now we're spread all across the country. So I can't see them all every year, but I take a little bit of time at the beginning of the year to think, who do I really want to try to keep up with this year? And who do I want to try to see in person? And so if I'm not going to be able, if I'm not going to be able to see someone in person and I want to try to keep up, one of the ways that I really love to do, and not all of your friends will sort of bite on this, but I love the scheduled Zoom or FaceTime coffee meetup. So it really helps you set a space, just like you would go to lunch or coffee with someone, but it's that dedicated time to catch up. And then that's different than texting, which is just little blips here and there, or even the phone call when you're driving home from work or whatever. I mean, those are great. That's absolutely better than nothing, but I really want to make a full pitch for scheduled video time with friends that don't live near you so that you can maintain that connection on purpose. I have a couple friends I do this with, and I look forward to the calls. And what we try to do is when we finish a call, we make an appointment for the next call so that we, have something to look forward to. And the miracle of the internet really allows us to do that. So I want to pitch to you, if you haven't tried that, try that with some of your friends. It's really a great way to be very intentional about maintaining your deep friendships with people who don't live nearby. Like I said earlier, it's the closest thing to being in person, and it's so widely available. It's so easy now. We should really take advantage of it. That's what I have for you today. Let me know. I really want to hear. I want to hear some cyber friend stories. So you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.